Our mission at SD Bullion is clear: the lowest cost gold and silver available online. While we do not have pretty blue boxes, free shipping on every order, or glamorous gold and silver infomercials, SD Bullion has the lowest prices that may save you hundreds on your next order. So before you make your next investment, do the math and join the over 40,000 new customers who have recently made the switch to SD Bullion. Why pay more?
Hey everyone, this is Elijah Johnson with SilverDoctors.com, and with us today is Roy Friedman, President of U.S. Mint Authorized Purchaser, MTB. Roy, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me again.
All right. Well, I'd first like to discuss the precious metal markets. This week, we've been seeing a little bit of a slowdown in gold and silver. Gold and silver have fallen a bit. What is the demand for the physical metal looking like on your side right now?
Well, conditions are, first of all, let me begin by saying purchases this week or sales by MTB are actually on the upswing this week. That doesn't mean that we're still not buying back from clients like yourselves, and as I suspect you're doing as well with your clients, buying back an unusually large amount of metal that's coming back on the market. But demand appears to be picking up this week, perhaps due to the lower price point of gold and silver, which have retraced a bit from recent gains. So, this week sees a fairly good two-way business. There are, I would say, an equal number of customers looking to buy this week, as opposed to sell. And in the past couple of weeks, there seem to have been more people interested in selling than buying.
What are you seeing with regard to the amount of silver versus the amount of gold people are buying right now?
Yes, well, that's silver sales by MTB through our broad customer base, have not seen this, have not been impacted as greatly by secondary market silver coming back on the market. And by that, I mean much of what has been talked about in the press over the last couple of weeks and has been talked about, from dealer to dealer and dealer to customer, has much to do with the quite surprising amount of gold that has been sold back into the marketplace by customers of all kinds, large and small, and from many different areas of the market. So over the last several weeks, many investors have chosen to liquidate or sell back their physical gold. And I'm sure, I'm not sure, but I would imagine, that you've seen some of that type of trading activity yourselves over the last couple of weeks. The customers that have been choosing to sell back gold have not necessarily been selling back silver. So there has been less silver on the market in the secondary market. But this doesn't necessarily mean that customers are selling back their gold to buy silver. It just means, that they've probably been selling back their gold and utilizing those dollars, in some other fashion. Perhaps they're investing elsewhere. Perhaps they're using the money and going on vacation. But the slowdown in demand in silver is not because of people are selling their silver. I think most investors are holding on to their silver. They're just not choosing to buy more at this time. Whereas in gold, there has been, a significant increase in, investors who have been selling back metal that they've previously purchased. Hopefully that answers and, gives a bit more clarity to, what we're seeing at MTB and my personal perspective on the market.
Over at SD Bullion, I'm hearing that we're seeing more sellers right now than we have in any other time in the past 5 years. Are you seeing the same extreme selling right now?
Yes. Well, I've been doing this for more years than I will say, but I've been doing this meaning being involved in the precious metals industry for quite a number of years. And in my experience, I don't think I've ever seen a period where the flow of metal coming back onto the market, has been as great as it is right now. When gold was $300-400 higher than it is today, we were not seeing this type of metal liquidation. And the greatest, the greatest picture that I can paint, for your clients is that premiums in many bullion items, and for that matter, many numismatic items as well, although I don't believe your clients are really engaged in numismatic trading, are at historically low premiums. This is a function of a simple supply demand curve. There is a greater supply of metal on the market right now than there is demand, and economics 101 has dictates that premiums fall during this type of environment, and that's what we're seeing right now in gold. More so in gold than we are seeing in silver.
So why do you think we're seeing that right now? I mean, I guess one explanation is that the election of Trump, there was this kind of Trump euphoria and people thinking that the economy's going to be doing great. Do you see this turning around if this Trump euphoria starts to fade?
Well, I think there are several theories, as to, what's happened, in the days. I beg your pardon. Excuse me. In the days leading up to the Trump nomination as president, and in the subsequent 100 days or so since he has been president, I think what we've seen, in the last couple of weeks, has simply been a scenario where, the average bullion investor, or the person who is likely to buy bullion in the past, is now saying that the reasons perhaps that they purchased bullion were partly in response to the leadership, in the White House, the leadership in the government, and with a change at the leadership level. Many physical precious metals buyers perhaps feel that they don't need at the moment the insurance that they needed previously, and as such, they have changed their asset allocations, and with their man in the White House, perhaps that's the reason why they're not necessarily buying physical precious metals. Personally, I think that's a mistake on several counts, but that's I'm not sure your readers are that interested in what drives my personal decision making endeavors, but from the perspective of all investors, investors have the best, except those that are going short. Investors of all kinds looking for all types of investment opportunities, are looking for something where they believe they're going to make money by owning the investment first and potentially selling the investment second. And as such, many investors, they want to, they're looking for momentum. They're looking for things, that are moving up in price. At the moment, you don't have to look any further than, the U.S. stock market over the course of the last, 3 to 6 months. And, investors of all kinds and of all sizes, are constantly refining and tweaking their investment portfolio. And at the moment, we're in an environment where, investors are looking to raise capital so they can put that money to work in the stock market. And such is the case. We have many investors right now who are selling precious metals, and while I'm not certain what all of them are doing with with the currency that they get back for the precious metals that they're selling, I would say a high percentage of them are likely investing in the New York the New York Stock Exchange. They're buying an equity, or they're buying a mutual fund. But this would certainly appear to be the case of what's going on in the minds of most investors right now.
Now, as for what could impact the precious metal markets in the near future, there's a lot of growing geopolitical tensions, especially, with North Korea and tensions with Russia as well right now. What is your perspective on how geopolitical tensions could impact the precious metal markets in the near future?
I'm personally shocked that we're not seeing more investors gravitating to physical precious metals and the precious metals industry as a whole, regardless of what form they chose to invest in. These are very very uncertain times that we live in. Once again, we have a scenario right now in the Korean Peninsula. We have a breakdown in international relationships with several other world powers, and in some cases countries that we've had very close ties with. And it just shocks me to no end that gold and silver are actually not trading at higher levels on the back of these geopolitical headlines, which we hear about every day. And it continues to amaze me that investors are still liquidating at these levels, as opposed to buying more. So I don't want to see anybody lose money in investing in precious metals. But from my perspective, selling gold at $1,265, selling silver at $1,730, or give or take a little bit where each metal is trading at the moment. To me, that's a bad investment decision, both in the short term and, from my perspective, an even worse decision for the long term.
All right. Well, Roy Friedman, thank you so much for joining us and giving us your time today. Before we let you go, did you want to share with the viewers any last thoughts you had and where they can find you? Manfred
Tordella and Brooks is a global trading company, part of the MKS PAMP group of companies. We are an authorized distributor for all of the sovereign mints, and the exclusive distributor in the United States for PAMP products. But we are not readily available to your listeners because our place in the market is, we're selling to clients like you. So our relationship, is focused on dealing in the wholesale community, and we let companies like yourself, deal with your clients. So it would be difficult for your clients to reach me personally. The best way for them to contact me, or perhaps send me a question if they'd like to, is through you, and I'd be happy to answer it.
All right. Well, we'll definitely do that. They can just send an email our way if they'd like to do that. And once again, Roy, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure as always. Have a good day.
You too.